This is a super long-term review of the base model M2 Mac Mini after a ton of both casual and very heavy usage over the past couple years. So let's see if this computer might be right for you and also see what it can do over 2 years after release. Really quick, here's a bit of context so you can see how I've been using the M2 Mac Mini for the past couple years so you know what kind of playing field we're on. I'm a video editor and YouTube creator primarily, so I spend so much time editing 4K to 6K, sometimes 8K high quality footage from mirrorless cameras and cinema cameras almost every single day. So this computer's been absolutely slammed with video work, but also I do a lot of photo editing and a lot of Photoshop editing for thumbnails and stuff, which can definitely get taxing as well. I've also used this Mac for live streaming, specifically gaming streams that I'm streaming through my Mac for sometimes 4 to 6 hours at a time. And this computer is kind of the main hub that receives all of my audio and video sources and then broadcasts it to the live stream. And I like my streams to be as high quality as possible, so I've definitely pushed it in that area as well. And then of course I've used it a literal metric booty ton for daily emails, web surfing, iMessage, writing, all the basic stuff most of us do every single day. Now let's get into the build quality and design of this little bad boy. Even though the M2 lineup is now considered large compared to the newer M4 Mac Minis, at the time of release it was still impressively small and low profile. And I absolutely love how it looks at my big ol' command center. It's kind of hilarious seeing it next to my gaming PC, which absolutely dwarfs the Mac Mini, even though my computer sits on top of a USB hub, making it even taller, a little bit bigger. Speaking of that, if you plan to do any sort of pro work with this kind of machine, you absolutely need more ports. I went with this affordable hub that gives me extra USB-A and C ports, an SD card reader, and my favorite feature, a slot for a SATA 3 SSD. I got a 4TB SSD, and this kind of connection is so much more affordable than just paying Apple for extra storage. This was essential for me because I went with the base level of storage on this computer, which has actually been super annoying. I wish I would have gotten a step up in storage, but you know, I wanted it to be as cheap as possible. I probably should have gone up slightly because Apple clogs their space with their internal system data that takes extra effort to clean out. One way to sort this out is with Clean My Mac, which is today's sponsor, and it's very helpful at doing this. Think of Clean My Mac like this. If you own a car and you don't do anything to maintain it, like change the oil, rotate the tires, it's probably not gonna run at its max capacity. And your computer is the exact same way. It runs better and lasts longer if you actually maintain it. And that's where Clean My Mac comes in. The Smart Scan is like your regular tune-up. It gives your Mac a quick health check, clears out unnecessary junk, optimizes performance, and even flags security issues all in one go. They've also added some really cool new features like Cloud Cleanup, which helps you clear out old files and duplicates from iCloud. We all know how annoying iCloud and storage on the iPhones and Macs can be. This will help you with that. And then the Space Lens module, which is my favorite, is what gives you a nice organized look of everything that's taking up your storage so you can see it at a snapshot glance. That's kind of like your dashboard. And if you got your check engine light on or issues going on flashing at you, you should probably do something about it. That's what the Space Lens module is. So just like a car, small bits of upkeep make lasting impact on your computer. So if your Mac's been feeling sluggish or cluttered, please check out Clean My Mac today. Do yourself a favor, it's gonna help your computer run how it's supposed to. And it's incredibly easy. So if you want 10% off, use my link at the top of the description or pinned comment. And thank you so much to Clean My Mac for sponsoring today's video. Now back to the Mac. So after all my intense usage of this computer, how has it performed? For the simple daily stuff, it's been an absolute breeze. Navigating through apps, emails, messages, all those basic tasks, it works perfectly smooth. But let's go up one more notch of intensity to photo editing. Using Lightroom to edit raw photos from a wide variety of cameras is a pretty seamless experience. Once in a while, there's a slight hiccup or lag or freeze up in Lightroom because editing large raw files can be pretty intense. But I haven't experienced anything that makes me bang my head on a wall. Although I really do enjoy that from time to time, just kind of relieves the stress. Working in Photoshop is also pretty good on this computer. The most taxing thing I do is editing raw photos and turning them into thumbnails in Photoshop directly, and then using quite a bit of generative AI in Photoshop to remove things in the background or add new things to the image, clean it up overall. Sometimes it does take a little bit to generate with AI, but I don't have experience editing on higher end computers than this, and honestly, I don't get frustrated waiting for it to generate. It's usually pretty quick. Now let's go up one more notch to live streaming. The way I've built my live streaming setup is to put the least amount of pressure on the Mac Mini as possible. So my gaming PC outputs an HDMI feed into an interface. My microphone goes into that same interface as well. If you're curious about my streaming setup, watch this video. But then the Mac receives everything as one video source and one audio source. And then the Mac takes those sources and sends it out to the interwebs. And honestly, it doesn't push the computer that hard. Even doing 1080p at really high bit rates, like 50,000, to make the stream actually look quality on YouTube or Twitch, it does a great job. But now let's move up to the most taxing and intense task I do on this computer, which is video editing. I use DaVinci Resolve, which is definitely not as smooth as Final Cut, which was built for Mac, but it honestly is pretty well optimized and works well on this computer. When I'm editing raw or log footage in 10-bit, sometimes 12-bit and above, I can usually cut projects in full timeline quality so I can see how it looks. Once I put just a LUT file on the footage so I can make everything look a little bit better while I'm editing, I usually pull it down to half quality so that it's still really smooth and doesn't really hiccup. But once I start to do my full grading on footage and then go back and try to edit in the timeline, I absolutely have to edit at a quarter quality in Resolve. Using half is not really an option, and using full quality, it will absolutely stutter and lag the entire time. And maybe this doesn't sound like a big deal, but I think it's a lot more inspiring and fun to edit when you can see your quality of your footage in at least half quality. Full is ideal, so you can really experience what you shot. And sometimes when you're editing things like text or fusion compositions, if you have it in half or quarter quality, it completely destroys what you're trying to do to text or graphics. You have to have it in full quality to see what effect you're actually doing to assets. So I've had to learn when to navigate between half, quarter, and full, which is a little bit annoying. Now, when exporting videos, if you're just using basic LUTs and then like a little bit of tweaking on a separate node for color grading, the videos will export pretty dang fast, even in like 80,000 bit rate in 4K. It turns out really great and really quick. But if you're doing like a power grade, which is a bunch of nodes that have customization that change your color grade and make it look however you want, then the export times dramatically increase. And there's multiple times where I've had YouTube videos take well over an hour to export, which is just kind of ridiculous with how much work I can't do while that's exporting. And because this computer maxes out at 16 gigs of RAM, I really try to avoid navigating through Chrome or doing other tasks on this computer while DaVinci is exporting. So I guess I gotta go upstairs and like say hi to my kid or whatever, give him a kiss, be like, eat some peanut butter. I don't frickin' know. Just wanna edit, man. With all that said, who the heck is this computer for after it's been released for over 2 years now, I think? For basic daily use, this machine is an absolute dream. It looks pretty on your setup, and it will absolutely crush any basic task you can throw at it. If you're doing really simple basic stuff, don't even worry about getting an M4 or something more powerful just because it's the latest and greatest. The M2 can absolutely slam. Now, I think streamers could really benefit from this computer in particular, whether it's the base M2 or maybe the M2 Pro. If you have a dedicated gaming PC and you just need a separate computer that you don't want to spend a ton of money on just to handle the streams, this thing is absolutely amazing and reliable. Now, for professionals in the photo, video, 3D, like heavily taxing work worlds, I would definitely consider something more powerful than the base M2, probably even more powerful than M2 Pro as well. It's probably time to look up. I've highly considered the M4 Mac Minis or the Pro or something like that, but at this point, they've already been out for, I think, a year as well, so I think I'm gonna hold out and see what comes next in the mini world. Thank you so much to Clean My Mac for sponsoring today's video. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and go check out this video where I tested a Google Pixel as an iPhone user for 7 days straight as my only phone. It was a really fun little documentary experience, and I'll see you over there. Bye.